Hello everyone, my name is Reagan and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be reviewing every book I read in 2025 in one sentence only, and I'm going to be very strict about this. A lot of these single sentences are going to be coming from my Fable and my book reviews that I do on Fable because I tend to keep them pretty short and concise and save my thoughts and feelings for the wrap-ups. If you're interested in checking out my Fable and what I read on a day-to-day basis, you can click that link in the description. It'll bring you right to my Fable and we can be friends. I think I read 100 and something books in the year 2025, maybe 103. Don't quote me on that. I don't quite remember, but I did hit my reading goal. My reading goal was at 50, but my secret reading goal was 100 books, and I did end up reaching that, which is amazing, and I'm very happy about that. Kind of same situation for next year. My reading goal officially on Fable is 50, but my secret reading goal again is 100, but I always like the feeling that I get when I reach my Fable goal, so we're keeping it at 50. I have a lot going on next year. I digress. We're just gonna jump right into reviewing every single book I read this year. I was contemplating doing a tier ranking video, but then that felt like an editing nightmare, and I've done that before and I hated it, so we're gonna do this instead. If you're interested in checking out my Etsy, the link is in the description, but without further ado, we're gonna get right into the reviews, starting with the first book I read in 2025, Reckless by Lauren Roberts. Nothing happened. I also guessed every single plot twist in the book. Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. Fun story, and I liked the romance aspect, but it didn't do anything new for me. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. It made me notice the small pleasures in life. Still very true. I'm not in love, I promise. I was chasing something like Lights Out, but this was not it. Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. One of the most beautifully written thrillers I've ever read. I feel like some of these sentences are quite dramatic. Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. As always, Ali Hazelwood grips me with her unique writing and unforgettable characters, but this one lacked the emotional depth that was present in her other books. Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. I wanted more, but I can see myself getting attached to the characters in later books, which, spoiler alert, did come true. Okay, just would like to report that. We're gonna see a lot more of those books in the future of this video. Onyx Storm by, why did I forget her name? Rebecca Yarros? Yeah, Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This book and the characters felt stagnant compared to the other books in the series, and this was definitely my least favorite, but I wasn't totally disappointed. That was a long sentence, but I had a lot to say about that one. The Ministry of Time. This is the time travel content that I love. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Now I have to scroll all the way back down. I accidentally clicked something on my computer, and now I have to scroll all the way back down 100 books to find where I was in my reviews. Fable needs an app so bad on a laptop or a device, or like a better website, because this is not working. Anytime I try to do anything on Fable on my computer, it's worse than Goodreads. I'd rather use Goodreads if I'm gonna use it on my computer, but I mostly use it on my phone, so it's okay. Runaway Love. I would recommend if you're looking for a small town single dad nanny romance, but it really didn't do anything special. Barbarian's Heart, Ice Planet Barbarian book number 9. Not my favorite in the series due to the amnesia trope, but I will continue because this is one of my favorite series of all time. The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson. I liked the pacing of this romance, but I didn't like the characters, so it didn't work for me. The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. This FMC was unusually insufferable. Like, girl, stand up. Please don't go into the metaphorical basement. It's a thriller book. Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I love the writing, as always, but the MMC felt especially far away in this one, and I didn't understand him in the way I normally understand Ali Hazelwood MMCs. Frozen River by Ariel Lawton. This book is like nothing I've ever read before. It's about a woman in a man's world and the terrible things people can do to each other. Scythe and Sparrow. The pacing was strange and I wanted more plot in the first half. Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. Hot take, I rated this 2 stars. I did not like this book. I had really high expectations for this one. I like the writing style and the setting of the book, but the borderline cheating trope did not do it for me, but it did make me want to go to the beach and read really bad. Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. This book made me cry. Period. That's it. That's the entire sentence. This book made me cry. Impressive. Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli. This is going to require a little bit more than one sentence. I'm low-key just going to read you my entire Fable review because I had very passionate feelings about this one. 75% of this book was solid, and it was no thoughts, just vibes, which I don't have a problem with. The resolution to this book was so bad I had to take off an entire star. The way they defeated each other was just essentially by loving each other, and it pissed me the F off. All the tension and the buildup and the feelings of how could this ever be resolved led up to a solution that they came up with in under a day that had no strategy, just positive and loving vibes. It didn't make sense. The book itself wasn't bad, but it was just disappointing. Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. I was confused. I have nothing else to say. Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. I liked that this book showed how relationships and marriages are work, and you can still love someone and need maintenance on that relationship for it to be successful. The Women by Kristen Hanna. I honestly don't even know how to put the emotions that this book made me feel into words. The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This is just what I needed in the moment. The Highland Fling by Megan Quinn. I almost felt ashamed reading this. All of the characters in this book needed to age their personality about 20 years. It felt like we were reading about teenagers, but they were 40 years old. Hex by Emily McIntyre. The FMC was an absolutely iconic man-hater, and I was here for it. Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue. I already remember nothing, and I finished it an hour ago. That was what I wrote on Fable like an hour after I finished that book, and still true to this day, I have no idea what happened in that book. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. It is perfect to me. I honestly feel like I'm doing a theater production. Fearless by Lauren Roberts. Everything was going great until the last 50 pages. It wasn't bad, but just like, what the fuck? Wild Tide by Elsie Silver. The wrestling aspect of this book was a little silly, but overall I felt their tension and banter, so it was okay. Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. Since I've read this book, I've decided that I'm no longer going to be reading Carissa Broadbent because I generally have a hard time connecting to her characters, and I think it's something about the writing that I just can't pinpoint. But for this book specifically, my review is, at first I didn't understand the connection to the series, but after some Googling, I figured it out. The Favorites by Lane Fargo. They felt real, all caps. At certain points, I wanted to Google facts and information about this story, but then I had to remind myself that it is fictional. All caps again. The Predator by Runic Starkverse Book 1. I wasn't as connected to this book as I would have liked to have been, but I think it's my fault for going in with such high expectations. Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh. The plot twisted. Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. I really wish that Wolf was the MMC. Envy was just kind of boring. Quicksilver Fan Alchemy Book 1. This book reminded me why I love fantasy. The Wedding People by Allison S. Batch. This book was basically just one huge reminder that in life you can do whatever the fuck you want. Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage. Meh, palette cleanser that did the job. Oh, I lied to you. I actually did read another Carissa Broadbent book, but I think there's actually two more. Okay, well, I kept reading Carissa Broadbent, but by the end of this year, I decided to stop. So at some point, you'll see the last Carissa Broadbent book ever that I'm ever gonna read ever. Daughter of No Worlds. I cannot pinpoint why, but in every single one of her books that I've read, there is a slight disconnect between me and the characters, and it makes me not enjoy the book that much. Fucking Sweet by Emily Rath, Jacksonville Ray's book number 3. Exactly what I thought it would be. One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I was just kind of bored, and the setting was very strong and atmospheric, but it was definitely the strongest part of this book. The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This book made me hate the male species because they were despicable. The commentary on women in the workplace, power imbalance, wealth, reputation, and the corruption of the justice system. Chef's kiss, 5 stars. Soul of a Witch by Harley LaRue. This is the final book in the trilogy. This book felt like a long training montage in which they pause to have sex every 10 minutes, but also incorporate sex into the training, so it's just sex. To be fair, I expected that, but I wish the epic battle that we were leading up to at the end of the series played a little bit more of a role in the plot. Morbidly Yours by Ivy Fairbanks. Super cute, and the Irish accent in the audiobook was everything. Direbound by Sable Sorensen. This is another book that I'm literally just going to read you my entire review because I feel very passionately about this one. The end 8 down. The rest was less than mid. I guessed, I'm not kidding, every single reveal in this book. It was honestly just a huge setup for the next book in the series, which I need immediately. If the next book is done right, it will be a 5 stars. The FMC constantly contradicted her own character traits and was so not aware of herself, her surroundings, or the nature of humanity, it made me want to rip my eyes out at her stupidity. Like, girl, stand up and also open your eyes. The Neverlist by Jade Presley. I wish the political side of this book was stronger, but 8. Off to the Races, which is the first book in the Gold Rush Ranch series by Elsie Silver. Billy is Me and I Am Billy. A Photo Finish, the second book in the Gold Rush Ranch series. This book was like a sandwich, and the bread was the best part. The middle was lacking. I think this is the last Carissa Broadbent book I read in this year and ever. Children of Fallen Gods. It was like slightly better than the first book, but I'm still not connected to the characters. Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry, one of my favorites of the year. This book started and ended very strong. The middle could have been condensed a little bit. I was living for the romance, and also I did guess that plot twist, but I need the next book in my hands now, please. Barbarian's Hope, Ice Planet Barbarians number 10. This series is never a miss. However, this one was not my favorite, but I still enjoyed it. Caught Up by Nevessa Allen. The aspect that was missing for me in this book was the humor. Overall, this was a miss. Two Twisted Crowns, book 2, and The Shepherd's King duology by Rachel Gillig. This book did not hit for me. I liked the dual timeline, but I feel like nothing happened in order for us to get to the resolution, so I was just bored. Credence by Penelope Douglas. What the hell was that? And why was I hooked? The Frontrunner, the third book in the Gold Rush Ranch series by Elsie Silver. The mouth on Stefan Dalka is insane. Silver Elite by Danny Francis. Dystopian, where? Chemistry, where? I was bored and unimpressed. Problematic Summer Romance by Allie Hazelwood, my queen. She, Allie Hazelwood, does it again. Connor and Maya have entered the realm of my favorite characters. Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. Predictable, but fun. Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I have no doubt in my mind that this MMC has not aged mentally since the age of 18, and he's now 40. Great BBL, Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I feel like this book tried to do so many things that it ended up doing all of them mediocre, but I still ate it up. Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher, book 2 in the Lakefront Billionaire series. The Man Blushes. Blushes. In all caps. Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I think I read this at the perfect time, and I now want to make every single one of my female friends read this book. It ripped my soul open, not to be dramatic, but decenter men. Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. I'm going to read my entire review for this one because I love this book with my whole heart. I am flabbergasted. I haven't read a romance book that made me feel this way in years, all caps. The tension was so thick I could cut it with a knife. The way Julie Soto wrote about music felt like passionate sex that poured from the page. About music. I had the urge several times to open Spotify and search Thorn and Roses. The utter obsession on the MMC's part was delicious. New auto by author unlocked. And Thorn and Roses was the fictional band in this book, and every single time we read about the music that they were playing, I literally wanted to be able to listen to it so bad. Julie Soto, if you could hire an orchestra to make the music of this book and then put it in the book, like, girl, I would pay you any amount of money, any that I have. I don't have that much money, so you might not want to look at me for an investment there, but The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I want a big fat hug from Bartholomew. Love him. I'm not new and different. I love him as well as everyone else ever who's ever read that book. So Under Lock and Key by Lana Ferguson. I'm going to read you my whole review. Very passionate about this one as well. Out of all the books I've ever read in my life, for some reason, this is the one that I felt it was too unrealistic. The line had to be somewhere, but it is a mystery as to why this book was that line. It was about a Loch Ness monster shifter. I don't know. Wasn't for me. The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I'm completely in awe of this story. Summer in the City by Alex Astor. A love letter to NYC and billionaires who are obsessed with you and express it by buying you many things is awesome. The Sweetest Oblivion by Danielle Laurie. I am normally not a Mafia fan, but I am obsessed with this book. All caps. Obsessed in all caps, yeah. Manacled. I've since been told that I'm not supposed to review... Okay, wait. Let me rephrase that. I've since been told that you're not supposed to review fanfic online. I don't know why, and by like I've been told, meaning I saw one TikTok about it, but then I did not continue to do my own research because it didn't really concern me at the time. Can someone, if you know, explain it to me in the comments, like what is the appropriate etiquette for rating fanfic? Because I don't know, and I might need to do some Googling after I finish filming this video because I'm not sure, but I'll read you what I wrote about it anyways, because I did read Manacled this year and it is on my Fable, so if I'm not supposed to do that, let me know. I did rate it highly, so I'm not totally sure if that's like, okay, if I didn't rate it bad, I don't know. Someone explain if you know. If not, I need to do my own research after this video. I apologize if I've done something wrong, but there was actually too much that went on in this book to even review it effectively. A Novel Love Story by Ashley Potts. Austen. This felt like a warm hug, but the romance just didn't click for me. Never by Jessa Hastings. What the hell? That was it. That was the entire review. What the hell? The Wolf King. First book in a series. All caps, as if you couldn't see that on Fable already. I'm not sure why I included that in the review, and I can't wait for the rest. That was it. Not really sure what I was going for there. Then we have Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. I'm starting to understand the hype. I fear that's all I wrote as well. This is when my reviews start getting really short and choppy. Not choppy, but they start getting really short, and I really only review books now in one sentence unless otherwise necessary. I want to try and get a little bit better in 2026 about really fully writing out and articulating my thoughts about a book if it's like at all possible. Some books I just like, I don't have any thoughts about this, and that's fine. When I do have thoughts about it, I want to articulate them. This part of the year is when spring semester started, and I was absolutely the most burnt out I have ever been in my entire life, working 2 jobs, full-time school, doing this, having a social life. It was absolutely exhausting, and so I only had the capacity to read for funsies and then write one little baby sentence about my book on Fable. We're starting to get into the small reviews of me being like absolutely brain dead for the entire semester. So Redeeming Six, this was like ... really sad. Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. Lock Men Up and Throw Away the Key. How Does It Feel by Janine O'Reilly. The writing was really repetitive and also what the fuck. You with a View by Jessica Joyce. Should have DNF'd, not because it was bad, but because romance is aching me out right now. Ariadne. What the fuck? Why do women pay for men's crimes? Always. Again, like what? I'm really adding nothing here to the conversation about this book, but yet, and I still do it. Like I'm just gonna keep reading them. Taming Seven. I Knew I Love Gibbs. Heavenly Bodies by Amani Eru. Didn't reinvent the wheel, but it wasn't bad. Heavily inspired by Greek mythology. Funny by Mona Awad. I don't even know what happened, but it was fun. The Familiar by Lee Bardugo. Love religious overtones. Leave Me Behind by K.M. Morinova. A Spicy in a Day Keeps the Doctor Away. Mate by Ali Hazelwood. Addicted. Spelled out each letter with a period in between, and I think I spelled addicted wrong if I'm being honest. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Vibe check equals passed with the checkmark emoji. Tourist Season by Bryn Weaver. The ending was absolutely diabolical. Bren, where's the next book? Bren, give me the next book now, please. I need it. The Things We Water by Mariana Zapata. Why was this peak literature? Would recommend. Caught Up. Windy City book number 3 by Liz Tomforty. I think it was the audiobook narrator for me. Okay, we have a review that is more than one sentence and actually is coherent. Here we go, okay? The Night Prince, book 2 in the Wolf King trilogy. It's gonna be a trilogy, I think. What an improvement. If my side of the love triangle doesn't end up together, I will throw a tantrum. I need the next book now. This is fucked up. So like slightly coherent maybe. Rose and Chains by Julie Soto. New Obsession Unlocked, Tobin Hurst. Brimstone by Kelly Hart. There are 3 letters in this review, and they are WTF. The Mistletoe Mix-Up by Cody Hall. I have very many negative things to say. Okay, this one doesn't actually, this one's this doesn't make sense. Mistletoe Mischief by Cody Hall, and this review makes absolutely no sense, but I'm gonna read it to you anyways. I can't even either these MMCs. I do think I remember in this book there being a moment in which the MMC gets caught checking out either his ex-girlfriend's boobs or another woman's boobs while the FMC is standing right next to him, and then from that point forward I gave up. I gave up on caring. I didn't care. Meet Me Under the Mistletoe by Jenny Bayless. Why Did I Want to Cry? Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. Good Things Really Can Exist. Holiday Ever After by Hannah Grace. Actually worth the time for a Christmas romance. Merry Christmas You Filthy Animal by Megan Quinn. Fucking Popcorn Garland? Oh my god, how does that even work? Frigid by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This would have slapped around the time that Twilight came out. A Heart for Christmas by Sophie Jomain. If I could give this a 0, I low-key would. I'm sorry, in parentheses. My Plans. Speechless. One word. Speechless. That was it. A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. How the hell did he make bacon? Canadian Boyfriend by Jenny Holiday. Hey, so I have tears in my eyes. That was all 100 and let me actually check real quick. 104 books. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so sorry that the reviews got worse and worse as we went along because I just started losing brain cells by the end of this year. Hopefully now my brain cells have rejuvenated. They've recuperated. Rest and relaxation. And check out my Etsy in the description below. Follow me on Fable if you would like to see all of these reviews and maybe the one sentences that I do for 2026. Did you have the same feelings about some of these books? Did you read any of these books? Did you read other books? Did you have any recommendations for me? Thank you so much for watching. I literally am so grateful that I get to do this for funsies, and thank you to anyone who likes, comments, subscribes. I would appreciate if you do those things, and have a great new year. I hope you had a really good 25 and 26 is going to be even better. I can feel it. Everything in 2025 was just so blah by the end, and now we're back. We're so back, baby. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Kisses and hugs from me. See you in the next video. Bye.